So I mentioned in the last episode that featured gun girl Kaitlin Bennet. Is it more prolific to be gun girl, or is it more prolific to be some other insulting pejorative? I don't know. But this person, I was wanting to see exactly what her reaction would be to Biden's inauguration, but it seems to me that a lot of these characters just don't tweet as often when Trump's not in office. It's weird. But we do have the first one. Of course, she still hasn't updated her Twitter profile. It still says Trump is my president, which is inaccurate, but yeah, you know. And of course, we've still got her pinned video about defunding universities, because the only way you can make more Trump supporters in the current environment is to get them uneducated enough to think he's a good president. But from Kaitlin Bennet here, she has never seen someone so intent on destroying the economy as Joe Biden is. It's amazing. Well, of course, we actually have, thanks to MUI Pikachu, the first 17 things that Biden has signed in, so we can see if he's really going to try to destroy the economy. And you know what? We'll look at a couple more of these, and then we'll go straight into there. So, Kaitlin, what else do you have to say now that Biden's your president? Well, of course, she says that he's not her president. And of course, you got the people who are going that this is the inauguration of socialism and the far left. If you think Biden's far left, your Overton window is so far into the right that you're kissing Hitler's dick. Why wasn't there a memorial for all the people that died from cancer, car accidents, or the flu? All right. Because their deaths can't be politicized. Well, here's the thing. The flu, even if I were to steel man and say that all these things were equal, right? Let's pretend all these things are created equal. Galen, even if I steel man that, I still come to the conclusion that there's something different about car accidents, the flu, and cancer, and that's that none of these are uncontrolled epidemics. Moreover, none of these are uncontrolled epidemics that could have been handled better, and had been handled better in other nations. But, you know, you do you. I'm not going to stop you from spouting really dumb shit on the internet. Actually, it's quite entertaining. Though I wish that there were certain simping members of your fan base that didn't get their rocks off to the dumb stuff you post, but that's just me. And then, of course, we have Democrats voted for Biden to help people out of work from the shutdowns. And the first thing he does is sign an international climate agreement instead. You got played. He doesn't care about you. Like, wait a minute. Hold on. Kaitlin, Can I point out what's wrong with the statement? I mean, the last statement basically boiled down to you don't understand that cancer and car accidents happen every day, but epidemics don't. This one seems to be a very different kind of misunderstanding. Kaitlin not understanding or deliberately obfuscating, which I think is more likely the case, deliberately obfuscating the fact that had he signed the out-of-work stuff first, before signing the climate agreement stuff, then she could have made the tweet, "Ha! You thought Biden cared about the climate and climate change? Looks like that's all a hoax. He's talking about coronavirus instead." Like, it doesn't matter what he signed in first. You could use that as an argument to say, based on this structure, that he doesn't care about anything. Anything at all. It's not difficult to do that. If you're willing to accept this flawed framework as your presentation style, you can say, oh no, Biden signed in a riot act first to try to decrease militarized police presence at protests so as to stop riots from happening, and wait until they have already escalated in order to bring in police. You could bring that in and then say, oh no, you thought that he cared about workers, but instead he's trying to make it to where BLM can destroy the country or whatever. You can use this flawed framework to argue practically anything, and it's sad, honestly. It's very sad that people will take this and immediately run with it. Though, based on the comments here, it does look like there are more people trolling Caitlyn than legitimately agreeing with her. But, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody else wants to hop into this section and see what all's going on in there. But let's go ahead, now that we're thinking about it. Let's look at that stuff that Biden actually did sign in and see if any of it was worthwhile. I mean, apparently, Caitlyn's very critical about Biden trying to destroy the economy. Let's go and take a look at that. Let's see. So, on coronavirus, there's a 100 days masking challenge, asking Americans to wear a mask for 100 days, requiring masks and physical distancing in federal buildings, on federal lands, and by government contractors, and urges states and local governments to do the same. Okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, again, I pointed out this in another video, but asking for masks to be used in federal lands is not a bad thing. You literally just don't want the people in charge of your government getting sick, too. That's... How many of you honestly step foot in a fucking federal building? Like, really? Then, the next one on coronavirus, stop the United States withdrawal from the World Health Organization. Dr. Anthony Fauci becoming the head of the delegation to the WHO, which is good. Let's see here. Creates the position of COVID-19 response coordinator, reporting directly to Biden in managing efforts to produce and distribute vaccines and medical equipment. Oh, so basically reinstating stuff that we had previously, and then Trump just removed because we didn't need a pandemic response team, apparently, for some fucking reason. On the economy, extends the existing nationwide moratorium on evictions and foreclosures until at least March 31st. How's that destroying the economy? How? And extending the existing pause on student loan payments and interest for Americans with federal student loans until at least September 30. Again, how is this destroying the economy? Then we move on to environment. Rejoins the Paris Climate Accord, a project that will take 30 days. Of course, this is something that she's freaked out about, too. Cancels the Keystone XL pipeline and directs agencies to review and reverse more than 100 Trump actions on the environment. Which... Cat is very, very, very loud. But I don't see an issue with that one either. If memory serves, the Keystone Pipeline was literally going through several native lands that would have been essentially destroyed by the pipeline going through, and only people who were big businesses or people who stand big businesses actually wanted the pipeline to be a thing anyway. And we should be moving away from fossil fuels to begin with, but... And then on equity, rescinds the Trump administration's 1776 Commission, direct agencies to review their actions to ensure racial equality. Now, remember, the 1776 Commission was Trump's attempt to push through what was called patriotic education. Not education on history, not education on the history of America, but patriotic education. Education that indoctrinates children into thinking that America's great, America's number one, and this is basically no different than a modification of North Korea's program of childhood indoctrination to think that the state and think that the government and think that your country is the best thing in the world above all else, instead of being hypercritical about your country and its past and pointing out that maybe, just maybe, some of the things that country has engaged in present was influenced by the things that happened in the past with that country. I know it's a weird thought to think that the past influences the future, but, you know, it's almost like these people, Caitlyn specifically, who are pro-monarchy, pro-fascist, even though fascism seems to jerk itself off to the idea of the past, they seem to have the strange idea about how much the past actually affects the future. On equity, prevents workplace discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity, which is good. On census, requires non-citizens to be included in the census, and appointment of congressional representatives. This is part of the steps towards bringing non-citizens in to be citizens of the United States. People who are here on work visas, people who are here as immigrants, this is a way to try to get them to the path of citizenship, because it is better to work people through the path of citizenship and getting them acclimated to America than just trying to push them back to their own country. Because when you do that, all you're going to do, you're not really stopping people who are hiding here. You're not stopping people who are here illegally. You're just hurting people who are here legally under visas, who sometimes are just caught in the process of trying to become citizens. There have been reports of people who have been trying to get their citizenship for 20 years, and for one reason or another haven't been able to, but they've started families here. And simply have not been able to stay, even though they aren't illegal immigrants. They came here legally with work visas and have been here for decades and have been trying to get citizenship legally. Having a path for them is good, not bad. Speaking of that, moving into immigration fortifies the DACA after Trump's efforts to undo protections for undocumented people brought into this country as children. Again, the DACA, if your parents came and you would be sent back home for whatever reason, but you wanted to stay in the United States, this lets you be protected. I actually have friends who are here strictly because of DACA. It's the thing that kept them in the United States. I'd rather not lose them. That's just me. Immigration reverses the Trump administration's restrictions on the U.S. entry for passport holders from 7 Muslim-majority countries, which is good. The Muslim ban was a stupid fucking idea to begin with. It was literally just a jingo move. There was nothing positive that came from that. Literally just going, Muslims are violent disproportionately, apparently, even though data does not suggest that Muslims are disproportionately violent. We just happen to be dealing with a handful of extremist groups right now. But remember, these are the people that don't think that bad apples exist. And let's see here. We have on immigration as well. Undoes Trump's expansion of immigration enforcement within the United States, which is good. Maybe we can get an abolishment of ICE. That would be great. We then halt construction of the border wall by terminating the national emergency declaration used to fund it, which is good. Honestly, who the fuck was the wall for? Who? We weren't building one between us and Canada, because I guess we weren't afraid of snow Mexicans. The wall literally had been a meme from day one, and the fact that it didn't get constructed during the time that Trump was trying to push it is hilarious. All the failures of the Trump presidency. Woo! And finally, on immigration, extend deferrals of deportation and work authorizations for Liberians with a safe haven in the United States until June 30, 2022. Hopefully, people from Liberia who are trying to come to the U.S. As a safe haven will be able to also gain citizenship here in the United States. At least that would be my hope. If they want to. Ethics requires executive branch appointees to sign an ethics pledge barring them from acting in personal interest and requiring them to uphold the independence of the Department of Justice. Now, you can have issues with the Department of Justice. That's fine. But there's nothing wrong with making people sign a pledge that says, hey, you're not going to use your public office for personal interests. When you go into a public office, you should be a servant of the public, not a servant to yourself. And the things you do should be in line with the good of the public, not the good of you. Because at some point, ideally, you'll reintegrate back into the public. You should be benefiting from these things that you do in the first place. But of course, a lot of people go into politics for the money. So, and then on regulation, directs OMB director to develop recommendations to modernize the regulatory review and undoes Trump's regulatory approval process. Now, I am not entirely familiar with what is going on here, though I do know that during Trump's administration, he undid a massive amount of regulations and even apparently tried getting like asbestos back in the United States. So that reads to me as good, but I don't want to immediately say good because I have not I have not delved into that particular bit of legislature. However, I do think it's funny if we were to double back to Kaitlin Bennet, that those are the things that Biden's done in office first, and yet those are the things that Kaitlin Bennet says that these are the things that mean that Biden is so intent on destroying the economy, and they're so upset that he's signed the Paris Agreement. Like, that's a problem. Now, granted, let's see here. What is going on with the COVID relief? Because we should have a COVID relief plan that's coming in, because that's one of the things that Biden had pointed out. Oh, wait! Before he even became president, Biden had unveiled a $1.9 trillion economic and healthcare relief package, which included the $1,400 stimulus checks. Now, whether or not this will go through, I do not know. I hope it does. There are a lot of people who need that money. There are a lot of people who need a feather fall. But Kaitlin Bennet gets to look at what he's signing in via executive order right now and go, oh, you thought he cared about you? Look what he's doing via executive order. Except the COVID-19 economic relief bill would not be pushed through via executive order. This would be pushed through Congress and the Senate to determine whether or not it would be able to go through. Now, given that we have Democratic majority in both, it should go through, hopefully. But the fact of the matter is, and the point is, to be Kaitlin Bennet, you have to be a person who selectively looks at things and pulls what you want from them and doesn't actually look at the big picture. The big picture is we've already got an emergency plan that's being pushed through, and it's going to be pushed through the House and the Senate, ideally, in an ideal world. The fact that this is not being signed in via executive order is not evidence that that is not something on Biden's agenda. Now, am I going to be a Biden stan? Fuck no. There's enough that's going to go wrong in this particular presidency, especially as people start to calm down from recognizing that, oh, wait, America engages in imperialism. Oh, wait, America got real fucking close to just leaning full in, mask off into fascism. People are going to kind of sleep on that now, and I don't like that. But I'm not an advocate for accelerationism, so I'm not going to be an advocate for more years of Trump because it will accelerate socialism by forcing people to realize it's super bad. I'm not gonna advocate for that. Too many people get hurt in the process of that. So I don't know. I don't want to know what a day in the head of Kaitlin Bennet is like, because the amount of idiocy that comes out of this person's mouth is astounding. And the amount of not just selective understanding, but selective representation. Literally grabbing things that she knows will rile up her base and just her base, and then arguing that. It's not even a grift at that point, because I think she wholeheartedly believes what she says. It's just sad. But I've already done an F's in the chat for Kaitlin Bennet in another video, so that's going to be that. We're not going to do F's in the chat for Kaitlin Bennet today. That's not going to be where we go. But if you enjoyed this presentation on both Kaitlin Bennett's response to the inauguration and what Joe Biden is currently doing with his administration, then please leave a like, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell notification icon so you can know whenever new videos come out, and I hope you all are having a wonderful day. And if not, I don't think this video really improved it.